her accuracy argument basically go line by line, I guess.
Okay.
And then no, matter of fact, scratch that. Don't go line by line. Go accuracy, then framework, then go to the root cause argument. Go then after that go to framework, then go line by
Okay.
line.
You can tell me when you are.
All right. Accuracy. To go to our accuracy argument, basically she totally mischaracterized our whole notions of our whole negative argument. She basically tried to centralize our argument is that we're gonna try to push for some policy making arguments. We clearly say in our framework that we're not representing the United States federal government. That means we will not use their paradigm to solve, which is pushing a bill and then saying it may or may not pass. She even said this type of methodology is bad. We say it's bad too. This is why we don't use it. But the fact of the matter is, she asked how we solve. Do we solve through the same mechanism that she does by talking about capitalism and the shortcomings of capitalism in the inherent theory is bad, and we show through our narratives and practice that it sucks. This is why this is why the negative is better than the affirmative. Even if she puts narratives and she sits here and talks about how she's a part of the algebra project, then talk about a narrative in your life, how the black aesthetic has validated you, how it's made you better as a person, how as the white aesthetic oppose itself in your life, how it destroy your political average, how it destroy your mentality, and she does not talk about that throughout this whole debate round. So basically, Judge, this is what we're saying. This is why the negative is better than the affirmative, because we make the connection through the theory, through all our arguments, through our narrative. This is why we push our framework through our narratives. It's because we make the connection between theory and practice. I guess a living practice in our own arguments. This is why we're better than the affirmative, because we have a living practice through our narratives and theories. Basically, to go again to her argument that we have, like, our advocacy puts the bill past, that's not what we're saying. We're saying if you cross our Barkin cards, December 2099 cards, and exposing the shortcomings of capitalism keep the conscience rising, these are arguments where we specifically talk about how by talking about the shortcomings of capitalism, I'll talk about it in theory and in practice how capitalism is up. We can have a discussion, and debate can be a discussion where we can have intellectual cohesion and talk about how to formulate actions to destroy this nebulous system. The problem now is that most of this system is seen as inevitable, that we cannot stop it. We're saying by having the discussion, debate round, and reorienting the language of the debate round in the debate is way better than anything the affirmative can talk about. Even if they talk about the fact that they're trying to solve for people in poverty, by not making that connection between that theory and practice is bad and is a hurt roadblock, because we perpetuate that same third person objective argument that we talk about on our Cornell West card. And go through summary, white supremacy is the root cause. Basically, go again to our white supremacy root cause. Even if indeed it is the root cause of white supremacy, by not making the connection between classism, or as we talked about in our Joe Covell arguments, you cannot solve racism and sexism without addressing capitalism. She doesn't even address capitalism as a system. She talks about the fact that we don't address white supremacy. Even if we don't address white supremacy, even if you say the white supremacy root cause, fine, let it be. But we're saying that if you do not address the connection between classes, racism, and sexism, then you will not find formulated way to, I guess, talk about notions of how to destroy these byproducts or these byproducts of white supremacy. So even if it is the root cause of it, I'm not talking about the connection between classism and racism. You inherently do not talk about formulations and do not functionally help how to solve for that white supremacy or capitalism. And we do that through our narrative arguments. And go to her argument where she says not talking about white supremacy is okay. If they say white supremacy is the notion of, then we talk about white supremacy and the notion, even if it is the root cause, then we do talk about white supremacy in this case. Capitalism, even if they want to say it's a branch of capitalism, then fine. But we're saying the reason why you should vote negative, because we make the connections between the two ideologies, and we make the connection through our theory and our arguments and the practice through our narratives. This is something that affirmative do not do. It's too late in the debate round, and like I said before, it's too late in the debate round for them to even talk about how the narrative is connected to that theory, because they should have did it in that 1A. She should have did it in our 1AC. And then go to that Robinson 2000 card again, where she talked about not seeing racism not solve the problem. We talk about racism, cross out Joe Covell card, where we talk about how you cannot solve racism or sexism, and it talks about that classism is a statement made by human beings. So anotherly, if you don't talk about these systems, racism, sexism, you not make that connection. We make that connection through our Joe Covell card. How do we not talk about racism? Again, go to her argument where she offers the alternative is through critical race paradigm. Even she argues the argument through critical race paradigm. We say if we do not make the connection between capitalism and white supremacy, then the race paradigm is going to be flawed because you do not fully formulate alternatives or discussions or ways to plan out a way to functionally destroy this broad system that is capitalism. And go to our Toni Morrison card. Where is that book I just said? Oh, yeah. Go to our Toni Morrison card to extend that. This argument is also again to talk about the language that established in debate, which elitists rely mostly on theory rather than how the theory works in practice. And better yet,
Sorry. I have two left, right?